topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hello and welcome to Fearless, Fabulous You. I am your host, Melanie Young. I am honored to have you join me on this show, which is all about inspiring you and all women to live their best lives and in good health with confident choices about how they want to live. Today, we're going to talk about a really important topic because this show is airing right now in the height of summer. We're going to talk about extreme heat and how to protect yourself. Now more than ever, the world is experiencing extreme heat everywhere, not just in the United States, but in Europe, where I recently was. My heart aches for my friends in Europe because unlike the United States, where we tend to love air conditioning, Europe is not so that way. They really don't like air conditioning. And there are some countries like the United Kingdom, Great Britain, where they don't even have air conditioning. I can tell you firsthand, David and I were in Italy and Greece in June and early July, and it was hot. I don't think I'll ever go back to Europe in the height of summer. We were there for a business and then a wedding, so it was very special, but the heat was tough. And it made me think because we had to move slower. We couldn't eat as much. And then we come back here and guess what? We live in New Orleans, where the average temperature right now is in the 90s with a high heat index and humidity. However, looking at the map of the United States under what is being described as a heat dome, we're doing so okay in New Orleans because you've got the dry, hot heat of the Midwest, the Southwest, California, even Northeast. We were just in New York and it was hot there. Basically, the world is getting hotter, and boy, we better be doing something about it at the highest levels of office. But in the meantime, I'm here to talk about what you can do to protect your health, your family's health, and also your pets. Everybody is impacted by this. First of all, I pulled a lot of information from the Center for Disease Prevention and Control, CDC, because I'm trained as a health coach and I write and speak on health. I am not a medical professional or a scientist. So my reference will be the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, which is a science-based government organization that I believe in. So a couple of things. Heat stroke. I want to describe the difference between heat stroke and heat exhaustion because you may hear different phrases thrown around and they're both not great for your health, but they're both different. So I'm going to put up an infographic. It's going to cover my face. It's from the Center for the CDC, and I'm going to explain it. So we're going to start with the most serious, which is heat stroke. Heat stroke is a severe medical emergency. As you see there, it says call 911 with an estimated mortality rate of 33 to 80%. Very high risk of multi-organ damage. And there's a rising incident in this due to rising global temperatures. About 489,000 heat-related deaths occurred annually between 2000 and 2019, with a high percentage of that Asia and Europe because they don't have air conditioning. I think and there's a lot of elderly people. We're going to talk about who's at risk in a minute, but heat stroke, what are the signs? Confusion, dizziness, your temperature, the body temperature, I have on my screen down here that I'm looking at, will be above 104 degrees, and you should always have a thermometer on hand at all times, as well as a blood pressure monitor. So a throbbing headache, no sweating. They're no longer sweating. Sweating cools you off. The body temperature is above 104 degrees with red hot skin. There will be confusion, dizziness, nausea or vomiting. a rapid, strong pulse, and the individual may become unconscious. Okay, I have on my screen in front of me, I have another computer screen with more of that. This is a shorter infographic. But these are the signs. Again, throbbing headache, confusion, dizziness, body temperature above 104 degrees with red hot skin, nausea and vomiting, rapid, strong pulse, becomes unconscious. What do you do? First, you call 911. Do not take someone to the hospital. Call 911. Why? Because if you call 911 and they send an ambulance, medical attention begins immediately in the ambulance while you're still driving to try to navigate traffic to get to a hospital. I know stories of people that have died because their husbands or wives took them to the hospital and they didn't call 911 and get an ambulance. Very important. Move the person to a cool area, no light. Loosen their clothing and remove extra layers. Cool them off with water or ice. If they can swallow and sip water, fine. Do it. But it is very important to act fast because heat stroke can cause death or permanent organ disability if emergency treatment is not given. That is heat stroke. It is nothing to laugh about. Heat exhaustion is also nothing to laugh about. This is very common for people who work outside, as is heat stroke, or we'll talk about vulnerability in a minute. Heat exhaustion, you feel faint or dizzy, excessive sweating, very thirsty, you're dehydrated, cool, pale, clammy skin, nausea, weakness, muscle cramps. I know I've experienced those in the heat, and a rapid, weak pulse, but you are not becoming unconscious, but it could lead to heat stroke. So it is still very serious. Heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke. So what do? Similar with heat stroke, you act fast. You move to a cooler area, person in a cool area. You loosen their clothing. You give them cool water and ice. Maybe get a rag to wrap around their neck and pulse points, a cool rag. You get them into a cool shower if they're not dizzy. If they are showing any dizziness, keep them still. And you seek medical help if the symptoms haven't improved. Obviously, I'm a big believer on about calling 911 if you think there is any risk of going from heat exhaustion to heat stroke. All right, I'm going to have this infographic on my Instagram and Melanie Fabulous and Facebook page after that. But I wanted to have that because I actually didn't really know the differences myself. And I am obviously very concerned because I am also in one of the highest risk groups for either heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Adults age 65 and older experience the highest rates of severe heat mortality, showing an 85% increase in heat-related deaths from 2000 to 2021, and growing. And as I said, a lot of this occurs in Asia and Europe, but also here in the United States. Hospitals are reporting more people coming in due to heat exhaustion or heat stroke. However, fatalities and heat exhaustion, heat stroke are also can make anyone vulnerable in the younger population if they work outdoors, if they have an outdoor job, if they're in high school or college and they're training for sports, an athlete, if they have any kind of outside life, if they don't hydrate when they go for their walks, if they do things in the middle of the day. So everybody is at risk, but adults age 65 and older are at higher risk. Their immune system is weaker. They don't process heat the way young people do. Their bodies just can't adapt to temperature changes. They get dehydrated easy. They lose salt. I remember as a little girl, my mother would make me take salt tablets with her because it was so hot in Chattanooga where I grew up. So another aspect of I see is gender and income. Age adjusted death rates are statistically higher in males than females. Why? Because more males have outdoor jobs. Outside my studio right now, they're repairing a street. We're offering the workers water. My swimming pool guy got overheated when he was cleaning our pool because he didn't have water. Men don't carry water bottles like women do. You've got to stay hydrated and always carry a water bottle. Risk is obviously higher in lower income urban areas who lack adequate cooling or green spaces. Green spaces really help cool things off. I can tell you that here in hot New Orleans, my husband and I took a morning walk, which we'll talk about how to adjust your schedule. And the green walking through the trees was just so cooling. As I said, anyone who works in an outdoor occupation is at higher risk. So, or in a factory where there's not adequate airflow. So it's not just necessarily outdoor, it's indoor. And of course, infants who haven't fully developed, anyone who is autoimmune compromised or is undergoing any kind of medical treatment, such as cancer treatment or other kinds, anyone recovering from surgery, or anyone who is in a weakened autoimmune state due to illness or surgery or injury is at higher risk. Your dogs and cats, your animals, particularly those who are used to being indoors, are at higher risk. You always hear about sad stories about people leave their animals, or God forbid their babies, or animals are babies, in their car. And you can't leave anyone in a hot car. You wouldn't leave food in a hot car because it'll spoil. Well, why would you leave a human or a living being in a hot car? Even if you think cracking open a window to allow air in is okay right now, it's not okay. It's too hot. Don't do it. And if you're traveling with a pet right now, I would not travel with any animal and put them in cargo in this heat. It is high risk. If you wouldn't do it, why would you subject your pet to it? Just think about that way. Right? Right. And hydration is key. So a couple of things. We talked about what to do if someone is experiencing signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. We talked about that. We talked about first aid. What can you do to protect yourself? Well, obviously, number one is stay cool. So stay inside. Stay where there's shade or air conditioning. Well, that's easy to do if you're like me and you work from home. But if you have a job where you are required to be outside, you need to make sure that your employer is providing adequate safety for you, because they must put their employees' safety first. And if they're not, you have every right to file a complaint. If you do work outside, or you are outside, or you're practicing for your high school or college team, stay in the shade as much as possible. Take cooling breaks whenever you can. Same, take hydration breaks. Watching the World Cup recently on television, the television would post hydration break because they were given the competing competitors hydration breaks. It was hot. The World Cup took place in the middle of a heat wave. We took our hydration breaks at the same time. I always carry a cup, a bottle of water with me at all times. I have a small one for my purse. I have one for my car. I have one for my bed. And the first thing I do in the morning is I drink a huge glass of water. I do believe in drinking at least 8-ounce glasses of water a day. They don't have to be icy. They just have to be wet. I believe in drinking water. If you don't like the taste of water, you can add lemon, you can add apple cider vinegar, you can add up slices of fruit or cucumber. But water is no calories, no salt. You should stay with still water versus carbonated water. It's the safest thing. Now, other ways to, we talked about staying inside air conditioning. I'll give you some examples of how to do that and not go crazy with you or your kids in a minute. But I just want to get back to drinking plenty of fluids and how to get your fluids, because that really is important. How do you know if you are adequately hydrated? Well, first of all, you're not thirsty. That's the first sign that you are hydrated, is you're not thirsty. If your mouth is dry, if your skin starts to itch, if you feel lightheaded, you may be getting dehydrated. Drink water. Drink it slowly in small sips so you're not choking and gulping. If your urine is dark versus light, you may need more hydration. When you take a pee and your urine is light, that means you're doing okay. If you really want something other than water, opt for fresh juice or a smoothie. Fresh fruit juice or vegetable juice with minimal sugar. Try to limit beverages that are high in sugar. Sodas, as example. Many bottled juices that are supposedly healthy are filled with sugar. Always read the label. Minimize sodium. Now, it's interesting because when I was a little girl, my mother would give me salt tablets. Again, I am not a medical professional. I'm not sure. The idea is that your body is losing salt during extreme heat, but it doesn't mean you should have a salty diet. Okay, that is not good for you, and it can spike your blood pressure. Too much sodium is just not good for your health and your heart health. Limit caffeine. Caffeine, while it may give you that energy that may be important when the heat saps your energy, because another symptom is the heat just makes you tired and fatigued. Caffeine is an artificial high. It will give you a quick hit of energy, but then you will have the post-caffeine slump, and caffeine is dehydrating. I try to limit my caffeine intake to even half a cup and then of coffee, and then maybe some iced coffee in the morning, and that's it. Or iced tea. Try to limit it. If you have to have an iced tea or coffee in the afternoon, fine, but try not to do it at the end of the night because you won't be able to sleep. The same as alcohol. Alcohol is dehydrating. I do not advocate for drinking any alcohol in the heat, period. It's very hard. And I go on wine tastings professionally all the time. I spit. When I'm at a professional wine tasting, I drink more water and I drink less wine because I spit my wine. I swirl, I taste, I spit, because alcohol is very dehydrating, and obviously it's also intoxicating. You don't want to have any beverages or foods that sap your energy, could create imbalances in your metabolism, which salt, too much sugar, alcohol all does, and could make you dizzy and faint. Because in the heat, you need as much careful protection of your body and energy as possible. Again, if you experience any of these symptoms, muscle cramping, unusual heavy sweating, shortness of breath, dizziness, headaches, weakness and nausea, get to a cool place, take your temperature, take your blood pressure, and make sure that someone knows you may need help and you may need to call 911. It's really, really important. It's also advisable to check the heat risk and air quality where you live, because often heat risk is also coupled with poor air quality. We were just in upstate New York for a family gathering, and the air quality was terrible because there are Canadian wildfires, and the smoke was infiltrating the air, and oh my God, the air was like brown. I couldn't go out. You should never go out if there's poor air quality, particularly if you're in the high risk group. As I said, high risk children, especially children with asthma or any medical conditions, anyone with heart disease, pregnant women, people age 65 and older. Boy, we're totally susceptible to everything. Anyone who is autoimmune compromised or recovering from surgery or about to go into surgery. Now, what can you do to stay cool besides just stay home? First of all, we all want to go out. Nobody wants to stay in all day. First of all, adjust your schedule. try to bundle your activities, your appointments, your errands, and do them all at one time, because your car is also experiencing the heat. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. They're impacted from the heat. Make sure your engine is working. Make sure you have a working air condition and all your fluids. This is a good time actually to go take your car in to make sure it's working. Ideally, you should have done that before it got hot, but make sure your car is working. So the worst thing you want to have happen is have your car break down somewhere on a hot highway or road and you're stuck, right? Bundle your activities. So maybe you do your grocery shopping, you pick up your laundry, you drop off some things. I'm bundling all my doctor's appointments right now. So they're all done in the morning. Okay. Try to do all this early in the morning when it's cooler. If you want to go out and run or take a walk or go out and play tennis, do it early in the morning after the sun goes down. In the high heat days, 12 noon, run noon to 6, and it varies depending where you are. Right now, I'd say the hottest time of the day in New Orleans is 5 o'clock. It's rough. Our patio is 100 degrees according to the thermometer, and the sun is going low and it's hitting us straight in, and it is hot. Don't rely on a fan as your main cooling system. Get your air conditioning service, and if you live in a high risk area for hurricanes and outages, which are an unfortunate side effect, not only of living in a hurricane, but also heat when power grids die, because we are out heating our power grid capacity. If you can invest in a generator for your home, do it. Because when your power goes out, you will be very happy when your generator goes on. Carry a fan. I have a little fan here. We in New Orleans, we make it a fashion statement. We carry fans. I keep them in my pocket. I also big on these these battery operated fans. Took them all over with me in Europe. Carry them here. Wear a hat, shade hat. It also protects your skin from the sun. Really, really important. Here in New Orleans, we actually carry umbrellas. We make it a fashion statement. Carry an umbrella. It's not just for rain. It protects you against the heat. Wear loose-fitting clothes. The worst is wearing tight clothes right now. Wear loose-fitting clothes and layer, because sometimes just a scarf, or like I'm wearing like a little woven, it's like a shawl, I guess. I guess it's a shawl, but it's very lightweight, and I'm wearing sleeveless. Why? Because if you're walking outside in the heat, you want to cover your arms and protect them from the sun and the hot. Your skin won't get hot. I sometimes just take a big scarf and I will cover it over my shoulders. Sometimes I'll even wear it over my head to keep my skin protected from not only the rays of the sun, but also the heat. Loose, lightweight, not black, lightweight clothing. Take cool showers or baths. God, we're doing like 2 a day right now. We're lucky, we're blessed. We have a swimming pool, so we go swimming. But, take short showers. Just go in and cool off. You don't need to like blow out your water system, particularly if you have a high water bill. Just take cool baths or just sponge baths. I like spritzes. I have bottles and bottles of spray spritzes. I actually have rose water that I picked up at this beautiful place in Italy, and I mix it with regular water, and I just spritz myself. I do that all the time when I'm flying too. I'm a big believer in spritzing your body to cool off and keep hydrated. Try to refrain in any strenuous activities in the height of the heat. Go slower. Take it slow. You don't need to race. You don't need to eat fast. You don't need to eat heavy. In fact, let's talk about eating. It's interesting. In countries where they're used to heat, the food tends to be spicier. Think Vietnam, Mexico, the Middle East. But that food also tends to be lighter. The spices were to preserve the food, because back a long time ago, there was no refrigeration. And also the spices were medicinal before modern medicine. Eat lighter foods, maybe cooling foods. I talked about beverages that are good for hydrating, like water or juice, and smoothies, cool soups. wonderful. I make a terrific yogurt, cucumber soup. I take frozen peas. I'm big on frozen vegetables. You can just put them on your head, and put them in the blender, put the bag on your head to cool off, put the frozen peas in a blender, add almond milk, some herbs. You've got a cooling, hydrating, cool soup. You can do that with fruits and vegetables. You can even do it with any kind of broth you can cool, but cool soups are a great way to hydrate. So think about that. Other things, just fresh, juicy vegetables, watermelon, cantaloupe, all of these have high water content. Interestingly, wine has a high water content, but I don't consider it hydrating. Just fun fact. Check on your friends and neighbors. Check on, particularly if they're ill or immune compromised or elderly. Check on them. Check to make sure that if you see anyone who's walking their dog out, like at the farmer's market, we see it all the time. Make sure people, if the dog looks like it's uncomfortable, say something. Say, I think your dog really needs something to drink. Because sometimes people just go out and they forget about their dogs. The dogs are on the leash, and dogs have a lot of hair, cats, and they're panting, and people underestimate how thirsty they are. If you do have an office or a storefront or anywhere where there are pets, people bring their pets, have some water out for the pets. If you were caring for a senior loved one, all the things I just talked about, consider, but they will need extra care because, again, seniors and particularly the elderly have a lot of difficulty processing heat. They should stay indoors. They should move very slowly. They should move, but maybe they need help walking. Maybe they need a walker. They may be weak. It's really important to assess your fatigue. Try to get, maybe you need less sheets. Try to sleep nude or in something very light so you don't sweat a lot at night. Try to take a nap if you're able to take a short nap to re-energize. It can help you with the heat. Another thing is heat rash. I get heat rash. My skin, it's like red clusters of pimply bumps and blisters. I get them on strangest places. I get them on my ankles, sometimes my inner thighs, fleshy areas. Well, my ankles are not fleshy. Sometimes and the inside of my arms, mainly on for some reason, mainly on my ankles. It may be because my athletic socks rub against my ankles, but if you have heat rash, try not to get out in the sun, stay in a cool environment, keep the area dry, and maybe get some powder or medical aid to put on it to protect the skin. It's very, very important. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to think about. Oh, here's some ways to stay. I have a whole list. I was making it when I was at the doctor. A couple of things. How to go outside and have fun in the summer. Well, obviously, if you have a pool, that's great. You go outside, swim, and hang out in the pool, but always have sunscreen on. Reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours. I wear a hat in the pool. I wear a hat and sunglasses in the pool. Protect your eyes, protect your lips. I have very dry lips right now, and I'm worried about skin cancers. So have adequate SPF lip protection. Not all lip emollients have SPF in them. Get an SPF lip protection. Reapply all your SPF. Make sure your hands are adequately, they are so vulnerable. I just had some precancers taken off this week. Hey, wear lace gloves if you have to, but make sure that the most vulnerable parts of your body, your face, your neck, your ears, your chest, your hands, your arms, they're out all the time. The tops of your feet. Every 2 hours, reapply generously. They say like a shot glass should be used on your body every 2 hours. All right. So you can do more with the shot glass than take shots. You can use it to measure your sun protection. I use an SPF that is environmentally friendly and paraben free. There's several. I'm not going to name brands, but do your homework. The Environmental Protection Agency, I I forget. I think there's an organization. They do the Dirty Dozen and the Environmental Working Group. Excuse me, the Environmental Working Group (EWG) has not only vegetables that are safe to eat right now. Boy, that's an issue versus not, but also has sunscreens that they have reviewed that are safe for your skin, your health, your environment, and also provide adequate protection. That's really important because a lot of sunscreens are not great for your skin. They have alcohol, they're drying, they're not great for the environment. They're really bad for coral reefs if you're going scuba diving. So go to the Environmental Working Group. I think it's ewg.org. This has some great science-based testing on various types of products, from sunscreen to cosmetics. And of course, they have the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, ever-changing list of vegetables and fruits that are safe to eat right now. So here's some things you can do if you want to get out of the house. If you're in the house, you got plenty to do. You can watch TV, you can read a book, whatever. You can cook. You can cook foods that are hydrating, and that's a fun thing to do. But if you want to go out, go to the movies. I never go to the movies. I hate going to the movies in the middle of the day, but I'm actually thinking about doing it now because it's so hot. Go to museums. Boy, museums love visitors in the summer. They are cool. They are stimulating. They offer lectures. Great place to go. Here in New Orleans in August, which is a very slow month, they have Museum Month. That means you buy one membership at one museum and you get to go to all the participating museums for free. Botanical gardens are also great. You can kind of enjoy the outdoors inside. Now, some botanical gardens are outside. Many are inside as well. So that's a great one. Aquariums, another great option. Go to an aquarium and see the animals who are cool. They also aquariums have a lot of challenges now when it gets hot, as zoos as well. I feel for them because the animals have to stay cool. Libraries. Your public library is a great source to read books, pick up some crafts, check out magazines, great source. And if it's too hot or your air conditioning isn't working, it's a great place to plug in your computer. So I'm a big public library, museums, go out and have lunch at a restaurant with friends. August is a slow time for restaurants. They'd love to have your business. Movies, indoor skating rinks. Go to an ice skating rink. That's kind of fun in the summer. Aquariums. Anything like that. Some places have indoor climbing walls. There's, check your local, here's great, check your local Chamber of Commerce, check your local visitors bureau, because they love promoting all the local things that visitors can do that you can do locally. Particularly, it's like having a staycation. There's plenty of things to do. If you are taking a drive on your car, make sure that your car has been properly serviced so it can take the heat. Your tires are inflated. You have plenty of gas. You have plenty of water. Have a gallon of water in the back in case you need it because you oversteam the engine. Have plenty of water bottles and hydrating fruits, dried fruits or fresh fruits or sliced vegetables. And make sure that you take breaks to get out and move and hydrate and, just get a little fresh air, but quickly and inside. But take breaks so your car can refresh, you can be refreshed if you are going on a road trip. Same if you're taking a flight, you do the same thing. You obviously you can't take water on before you go through security, but the first thing you should do is have an empty water bottle, fill it up because it's free at any of the fountains, and make sure you have plenty of water on the plane. Very important. I think many people underestimate the importance of hydration. It is so critical for your health, your brain, your energy, your skin, everything. It keeps your body moving. All right. I think I've covered just about everything I want to share with you in this show. I want you to enjoy the rest of the summer. This isn't going away. The world is heating up. I'm not going to get political, but it is climate change. And it makes me very sad. I look over at Europe right now and I see raging fires near Bordeaux, where some of the world's great wine is produced, and it breaks my heart. I saw it in California. It broke my heart. I see Madrid, the area around a beautiful city, on fire. Fires in Italy, Sicily. They were in Greece a couple of years ago. They're everywhere. And it's not just fire, it's also the oceans are heating up, and that's why we get these crazy storms. We have to be prepared. We have to be smart. We have to take responsibility for taking care of ourselves, but also the earth. So think about that when you're purchasing products and you're repurposing what you're eating, you're using less plastic. Try to use reusable containers. Think about ways to reuse your food versus food waste. Think about what you're throwing out, but also think about what you're buying, because we need to do more to protect Mother Earth. And by protecting Mother Earth, we're also protecting our health. I hope the show was helpful. I did it because, frankly, I was feeling ill walking around in Greece. It was hot. And I finally said, you know what? I don't need to go sightsee anymore. I want to go lie down in my air-conditioned room. And I didn't feel like I was missing out. I didn't feel like, I was wasting a day of sightseeing. I learned that sometimes slow travel is better. And if you don't want to lug your suitcase, don't be a hero and try to lug your suitcase from the train station or the metro to your hotel to save money. Get a cab. Don't cut corners to save money if it impacts your health. And I have learned I'm beyond lugging, hauling, lifting. It's not being a prima donna, it's being protective of my health and my body. And I've been fiercely protective of my husband's as well. And that could be at any age. But with a reality check came out that every time I do research for this show, people 65 and older are always high risk. I'm like, man, this is a wake-up call. Well, let's just make the wake-up call one that says, I'm going to live healthier and not an injury or disease or an accident or something that really impacts your health. Make your wake-up call a promise to live better. Think about your health and put your self-care first, and think about others' health and self-care first. Think about Earth. Think about a better way to live so you stay healthy, because that's the best of all possible worlds. All right, it's a wrap. I'm Melanie Young. This is Fearless, Fabulous You. You can find this show on my YouTube channel at Melanie Young Author, and also on over 65 podcast channels, as well as the Women for Women Network. Please follow me at Melanie Fabulous on Instagram and my page, Fearless, Fabulous Melanie Young on Facebook, and connect. And if there's any topics you want to hear about, you can always shoot me a message on my Instagram. Thank you for joining me. And as always, you have the right to choose how you want to live your life. Always choose to live on your terms and not by the terms of other people that they set for you. Choose your terms, and always choose fearless and fabulous. Thank you.